Today, I am going to be talking to you about a topic that we all may have gone through. Man, we've probably gone through it. Let's be real. Obedience is not always holy, and silence is not always respectful. Sometimes it's a symptom of trauma dressed up as culture. Welcome to Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I'm your host, Edna White. And today we're going in. We're talking about church hurt, corporate chains, family silence, and how control hides behind community, leadership, and culture. If you've ever sat in church pew or staff meeting and thought, this doesn't feel right, this is the episode. So let's get to it. My personal story is I have been involved in church since the age of 19. And I came to church and got involved with church because I wanted to find that, camaraderie, that closeness, that family, that community, that culture, because I was a hurting child and I was looking for answers. I was looking for safety that I didn't find at home. But instead, as years went on, I was told what to wear, how to act, who to be around, who to discard, who to, what to say, how to say it, when to say it, what not to say to other people, the persona I was supposed to have around other people. I was definitely under religious obedience. I was being told to submit, being told to stay quiet and not question authority. I was even told that God doesn't give me direction, gives the head direction. Then he tells or she tells me what to do. And how that extended into my personal life, it wrecked my relationships, my personal relationships, my romantic relationships. It wrecked my familial relationships. It wrecked friendships. It wrecked a lot of it. It destroyed what was supposed to be creating a safety in those places. It did not. Now, what it did in my workplace, it taught me to be the good employee. Don't question anything. Don't um, just keep your nose to the grindstone and just do what you have to do. Overworked, underpaid, and afraid to speak up. That's how it kept me until I got my own business, and it was just like totally different. That's the totally different atmosphere. And then the family expectations. I was told when my son had gotten into some trouble and went to jail, don't visit him. Let him stay there and stew in his own mess. Give him tough love. But yet, when it happened to the leader, they auctioned off their house. They put their house up for bond. You know, but it was one set of rules for us and one set of rules for leadership. And then in the family structure that was supposed to keep me safe or make me feel safe, the family expectation was what happens in this house stays in the house. And being taught silence is survival was very hard for me. It was very difficult. It kept me silent for years, inactive, not involved in the things that I didn't take opportunities like I was supposed to. I didn't take opportunities to go off to college. I went to college, but I didn't take the opportunity to go outside of college. And those things enmeshed in me so that I wasn't able to do a lot. I didn't do a lot. I didn't experience a lot. I didn't experience life. Religion, well, church, religion, these communities, They tell you how to act. They tell you how to behave. They tell you what to do, what to say, who to be with. They tell you that. And they teach you organized hate. They teach you organized hate. HATE. We don't realize we're doing it, but we do. And then the persona isn't about God's love or, you know, Jesus, his message. It's then we're better than the other religions. And that's when it's a culture of toxicity. That's when it becomes no longer a religious experience, it becomes religious obedience and oppression. You see, I wasn't being loyal, I was being groomed to disappear inside of other people's comfort. Here's how it all connects: the pattern of silent conditioning. There's a psychology behind this that links church trauma, corporate burnout, and family guilt together, and how it manifests itself in your nervous system, in your ability to be who you are, and the ability to speak out, to speak up, and speak for yourself. It forms a condition in your mind of fear. Should you say anything, you have the fear of being rejected. And should you say anything, you have a fear of being punished so severely. Like if you do or say anything against a person of God, if you do and you say anything against a leader, you're going straight to hell. Now, mind you, as a regular person, we wouldn't know that until we receive the description from someone else that this is what you're going to do. Now, but think about this. You're going to hell for acting this way. So if you have done this and then you maybe changed your thought around it and evolved, you're still going to hell because you already did it. Does that make any conscionable sense? Again, we were groomed to groomed and conditioned to be silent, to not be ourselves. We were groomed into punishment so that we can stay compliant. Yeah, I'm going to let that one sit there, right? Why obedience without discernment is self betrayal. See, we can't think for ourselves, we just have to obey. What does that sound like to you? Slavery. That's right, slavery, pure slavery. It sounds like you're enslaved because you can't think outside the confinements of the King James Version. Even if you want to evolve, even if God was talking to you, you couldn't hear him because you are in these confinements of the wall of the King James Version, the leadership's words, what they've told us to live. We can't come out of that because if we have discernment, that's not God talking to us. But God gave us discernment, which is our intuition and our emotions and our free will. He gave us all those things. So, but we're going against you and abiding by what God wants us or has given us to use. We're going against you, but you're the higher power of God. Does that even make sense? Right. Does it even make sense? Think about that. It all connects. It all connects. Church has its corporate strategy, the corporate has their corporate strategy, and the family guild has their strategy. If it's all toxic, it's all damaging you psychologically and energetically. So, how do you begin to start breaking free? And many people have asked me this: how did you break free? Let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It was not easy. All with within me, I wanted to go back because I was used to it. I did it for 28 years. I wanted to go back. Once I had evolved, once my eyes opened, once I was awake, once I was aware, I still wanted to go back. So it was like having that syndrome of, you know, being loving and caring for the perpetrator. I wanted to go back. And I tell you, people write me and ask me, how do I get out of it? How did I get out of it? How do I release myself? Process. And I didn't even know that God was taking me through that process, but there was a process. Um, One of the things that we have to get away from is calling it for what it is. If it's church trauma, call it. If somebody hurt you in church, call it. If it's corporate burnout, call it. If you're being burnt out, mistreated, misused, misdirected, call it. And if it's family guilt, call it. If you're parenting by guilt, call it. If you're not doing anyone any good in your family with, what you're covering up and you're lying about it, call it. That's what we've gotten away from being able to use our voice. And when people hear truth, they call it troublemaking, big mouth, being silly. They call it names. You're too emotional. You're too into your feelings. You wear your feelings on your hand. They call it all those things because they don't want to see the truth. They want you to conform back into their fold. They want you to conform back into it. So call it. Number one is name the culture and call it for what it is. Control, not community. It is. Abuse, not discipline. Naming it is the first act of rebellion. And that's what I did, is when I realized that I was getting more and burnt out more and more year after year. I knew something was going on. And it wasn't discipline, it was complete abuse. So naming it first and rebelling against it, then you become the black sheep. You're no longer the scapegoat. Now you're the black sheep. But as I tell every black sheep, the black wool of any sheep is more money, is the one that's breaking the norm, is the one is setting the standard, their own standard for life. Just so you know. Number two is rebuild trust with your inner voice. Start asking yourself the questions that you are asking leaders. You know, you know, stop asking them questions. God has given you everything you need to answer your question. Everything. Everything. Start asking yourself, does this feel safe? Does this feel right? Does this separate me from how I am honorable to myself? Forget about that I'm honorable to myself. Am I really being my whole self or just part of myself when I'm with them? Does this honor who I am? Does it honor who you, God, made me to be? Am I shrinking in to fit in to that group, that corporate space, to that family? One thing that helped me the most during this process is literally daily journaling and then silent check ins with myself. Speaking out loud, if you have to speak it out loud to walk through the process, do it. Those are some tools that I used. And then there's other tools that I have incorporated to a new program that I have for those who have gone through church trauma. It's called Unearthed because that's exactly what I did. Is I unearthed who I really was under all that BS. So listen, if you have been stuck in a cycle of be quiet, be good, be grateful, I created Unearthed just for you. This is my 90-day coaching experience to people ready to break cycles of blind obedience, heal religious and family conditioning, and rebuild identity and trust their intuition. It's deep, it's raw, and it works. The message may not be for you, maybe for somebody else. But message me and or comment I'm ready below and I'll reach out personally. You've been buried under shoulds and coulds and woulds and shame long enough. Let's unearth the truth of God. Comment, like, and subscribe if you feel this. Until next time, stay real, stay free, and stay on purpose.